Welcome to an exploration of the countries with the highest STD rates, where we delve into the sobering realities of sexual health around the globe. From South Africa's alarming prevalence to Cuba's unexpected challenges, each nation on this list faces unique obstacles in combating sexually transmitted diseases. Join us as we unravel the complexities of socioeconomic factors, cultural norms, and healthcare access shaping this critical issue. Number 1. South Africa. With a shocking rate of 37,272 cases per 100,000 individuals, South Africa is at the top of the list of countries that are experiencing the highest rates of sexually transmitted diseases. The high rate of sexually transmitted diseases in South Africa is profoundly connected with socio-economic challenges. The country is plagued by pervasive poverty, which reduces the number of people who have access to medical treatment for a sizable section of the population. In addition, the cultural and societal stigmas that are associated with sexually transmitted disease testing are a contributing factor to the unwillingness of individuals to seek diagnosis and treatment. The ongoing HIV/AIDS epidemic, which has been widespread since the latter half of the 20th century, adds another degree of complexity to the problem, making it even more difficult to put preventative measures into effect. In order to effectively address South Africa's high prevalence of sexually transmitted diseases, a diversified approach is required. The importance of expanding access to healthcare services cannot be overstated, particularly in rural areas. It is possible for public health campaigns to assist eliminate stigma and urge individuals to take preventative measures by stressing the importance of safe sexual practices and frequent testing for sexually transmitted diseases. It is vital to implement education programs that try to dispel myths around sexually transmitted diseases and promote early diagnosis in order to prevent the spread of these infections. Number 2. Botswana. South Africa is closely followed by Botswana, which has a sexually transmitted disease rate of 34,105.7 cases per 100,000 inhabitants. Despite the country's attempts to increase access to healthcare and raise awareness, the country continues to struggle with limiting the transmission of sexually transmitted diseases. Although Botswana has made significant progress in making improvements to its healthcare infrastructure, access continues to be a challenge, particularly in more isolated locations. It is difficult to provide comprehensive sexual health treatments to all parts of the community due to the limited resources available and the geographical limitations that one must overcome. Public education and awareness efforts are extremely important in tackling the issue of sexually transmitted disease rates. In order to educate its population on safe sexual behaviors, the significance of frequent testing, and the various treatment options that are available, Botswana has to organize focused education programs. The myths that surround sexually transmitted diseases can be easily dispelled via the use of community engagement activities. Number 3. Lesotho. At a rate of 32,472 cases per 100,000 persons, Lesotho is confronted with substantial hurdles when it comes to managing the incidence of sexually transmitted diseases. In order to address the myriad of variables that contribute to Lesotho's high sexually transmitted disease rate, it is essential to strengthen public health initiatives. Lesotho needs to implement comprehensive public health initiatives that include testing, treatment, and prevention of diseases. Increasing access to sexual health treatments is absolutely necessary, especially in communities that are geographically isolated. It is possible to close the gap in healthcare delivery through the implementation of community-based initiatives such as outreach programs and mobile clinics. It is of the utmost importance to involve communities in open conversations about sexual health. The elimination of cultural taboos and the creation of an atmosphere that encourages individuals to seek testing and treatment without the fear of being judged are both extremely important initiatives. Solutions that are driven by the community can be made easier by collaboration with local leaders, influential individuals, and healthcare professionals. Number 4. Bermuda. In spite of the fact that Bermuda is an island nation that is well known for its tourism and prosperity, the country has a somewhat high sexually transmitted disease prevalence, placing forth with 32,364 cases per 100,000 persons. The current situation in Bermuda necessitates the implementation of focused interventions that are specifically designed to address the specific characteristics of the island's inhabitants. This includes sexual education programs that are comprehensive, testing facilities that are easily accessible, and awareness efforts that are designed to resonate with the many populations that make up the community. Bermuda, being a popular tourist destination, is required to take into consideration the impact that its sexually transmitted disease rates have on the tourism business. The implementation of steps to protect the safety of visitors, such as promoting safe sexual behaviors and providing healthcare services that are easily available, is particularly important for the purpose of preserving the island's reputation as a destination for tourists. Number 5. Brazil. Brazil is in 5th place, with a rate of 31,745 cases per 100,000 population. The nation suffers difficulties in preventing the spread of sexually transmitted diseases, despite the fact that it has a vast population and a thriving culture. When it comes to addressing the issue of sexually transmitted diseases rates, Brazil's cultural variety brings both benefits and obstacles. The conduct of individuals is influenced by cultural norms, which include views regarding sexuality and sexual health. In order to achieve success, it is very important to tailor interventions so that they respect and include these cultural subtleties. The prevalence of sexually transmitted diseases is influenced by the high rates of poverty and economic inequality. In order to effectively reduce the prevalence of sexually transmitted diseases, Brazil has to address these socio-economic issues. It is possible for initiatives that are centered on enhancing economic conditions, educational opportunities, and access to healthcare to have a major influence. Number 6. Gabon. The rate of sexually transmitted diseases is 31,451.6 instances per 100,000 inhabitants, which indicates that there are major obstacles for public health in efficiently combating STDs. The healthcare infrastructure in Gabon is experiencing difficulties, which is having an effect on the delivery of sexual health services. Improvements to healthcare facilities, particularly in rural areas, are absolutely necessary in order to provide access to diagnostic testing, treatment, and educational opportunities. The government of Gabon must make the implementation of preventative measures a top priority. These measures should include immunization programs, the distribution of contraceptives, and comprehensive sexuality education. By empowering individuals to make informed decisions about their sexual health, these programs have the potential to reduce the overall prevalence of sexually transmitted diseases. Number 7. Barbados. Despite being an island nation that is well known for its tourism and prosperity, Barbados is struggling with a high prevalence of sexually transmitted diseases, with a rate of 30,968.9 cases per 100,000 inhabitants. Barbados, much like Bermuda, needs to take into consideration the impact that its sexually transmitted disease rates have on tourism. In order to ensure the continued successful operation of the tourism industry, it is essential to put into action policies that protect the health of both locals and tourists. The promotion of safe sexual practices, the provision of testing that is easily accessible, and the incorporation of sexual health awareness into tourism marketing are all included in this. Number 8. Puerto Rico. An incidence of 30,910 cases per 100,000 individuals has been reported in Puerto Rico, stressing the necessity of focused interventions and access to healthcare in order to address the high prevalence of sexually transmitted diseases. It is of the utmost importance for Puerto Rico to enhance access to healthcare, particularly in communities that aren't adequately served. In order to encourage individuals to seek testing without fear of being judged, it is necessary to make sure that testing facilities are easily accessible, available at reasonable prices, and sensitive to cultural sensibilities. It is essential to conduct public awareness programs both in schools and in communities in order to change attitudes when it comes to sexually transmitted disease testing. It is possible to effectively reach a large audience and decrease the stigma that is associated with sexually transmitted diseases by including sexual health education into school curricula and by using media platforms. Number 9. Eswatini. It ranks 9th internationally with a sexually transmitted disease rate of 30,865 cases per 100,000 persons, highlighting the urgent need for comprehensive public health initiatives to effectively control the transmission of STDs. Eswatini has to prioritize making testing and treatment facilities more accessible to the general people in order to improve their overall accessibility. Establishing community-based clinics and mobile testing units, as well as making sure that healthcare services are both affordable and sensitive to cultural norms, are all necessary steps in this undertaking. It is important to provide young people with thorough sexual education. Young people in Eswatini can be empowered with the knowledge and skills necessary to make informed decisions about their sexual health through the implementation of programs that can be implemented in schools and community centers. Number 10. Cuba. It comes in last place on the list of the top 10 countries with a rate of 30,769 cases per 100,000 people, demonstrating that the country faces difficulties in limiting the spread of sexually transmitted diseases despite its healthcare system and infrastructure. Cuba's well-established healthcare system provides a framework for addressing the prevalence of sexually transmitted diseases. It is possible to ensure that healthcare services are easily accessible to all parts of the population by strengthening the infrastructure that is already in place, particularly in places that are geographically isolated. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from me again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go. Thanks for watching.